Blessed be. I'm Sappha, and this is my YouTube channel. Welcome to your Saturn in Capricorn reading. Saturn in Capricorn, I meant to say full moon in Capricorn, but it's funny because Saturn is going to be conjunct the full moon in Capricorn, so that's obviously a huge presence in this reading, along with Mars retrograde in Aquarius, which is, I'm going to talk about what these things mean to me and what I've been experiencing in the past couple days as a result of these archetypes. So what I've witnessed is a lot of people around me getting these opportunities. Saturn being like the Lord of Karma and timelines, and also, Capricorn being like rules, responsibilities. So that would be like your career, and all earthly matters. So people are being guided towards the experiences that they have the skills to do, but Mars in retrograde is compelling us to consider our individual role in the collective, which has an upside and a downside. The upside is that we're able to see ourselves without necessarily needing our definition of success to be reflected in the collectives. So, like, for example, last reading was about shattering the illusion of toxic masculinity, which is like this one overarching sort of grandiose definition of success, and how that's affected our fathers and how our fathers have affected us, and how that's affected our hearts and our heart's path. And so, Aquarius is about our collective consciousness, our collective knowledge. So we're trying to figure out what this objective definition of success is, and what I personally feel it is it's all of us individually fitting in to our roles where we're supposed to be, and that is your heart's path. And so your heart's path is like your highest good that you are able to manifest in this karmic soup. So riding the wave of the heart chakra is like riding on top of the karmic waves of time, instead of getting sucked under into the underbelly and feeling like a victim of these different collective responsibilities, these standards that get put on us from birth, and really questioning all of those things, because Aquarius is questioning. It's seeing things in both an intellectual and spiritual light. And Mars is the head, and it's about responsibility. So yeah, this Mars card just came up of defensiveness. So I feel like this is pretty much Mars in reverse, Mars in retrograde. And so we're defending our position in the collective consciousness. And so, again, in me standing up for yourself, on the bottom of the deck we have good old Saturn in reverse, right? But who's underneath there? All right, Saturn, being the king of karma, and this is Capricorn right here. This reverse shows, it's sort of like, where have we deemed ourselves victims of these collective mentalities? Where have we seen them as being impossible to overcome? Where have we seen them as defining of the self, and being defensive instead of standing in our power, accepting our shadows? See, this is the little shadow cat. I call him the shadow cat. And to me, the sunflower is representative of our heart's path. And to me, when I manifest certain things in my life, when I see sunflowers on my path, I'm usually like, it reminds me, it's a reminder to stick to that which is your individual strength. And the feminine role in this, or the feminine side of Aries, to me, this is an Aries woman, is finding the strength to be an individual and nurture the individual within. And that includes all your flaws, allowing yourself to be flawed in the process. It reminded me something too. It actually reminds me of my mom, who's an Aries woman. And right underneath we have the sun in reverse, and I just wanted to show that too. So, me and my mom were talking about this on the phone, about how, we're both acknowledging our skills, and that in that we have to realize that we have these skills, right? We're defending the self, because the skills are, your skill set is a part of yourself, but that it's important to warm up to your expectations, or your performance levels, because heat and fire, sometimes it takes a fire a second to get going. And I found that it's like a really important thing for me to say in this video, because we expect ourselves to go in cold sometimes in relation to our skills. We expect ourselves to be able to just perform, and that's like that's like feels like the oppression of Saturn. Is it's like, no, just get it done, just do it, And no, actually, we need to give ourselves that encouragement, and that is what nurturing the inner child is. That's what you allowing yourself to warm up to the idea. Allow the self, the sun, to warm you into the idea of being successful. Like, oh yeah, I actually can do this. That's what self-encouragement is. It's like, it's something that you're using to get the juices flowing. Here, these two cards came out, and I want to say that before I even turned on the camera, I saw the High Priestess in my mind, exalting her own heart to the sky. So that is coming from the heart center, and in reverse, right, she's not paying attention to her own heart's path. And Mars in Aquarius in reverse is, it's like you're paying too much attention to the collective when you should be paying attention to what's in your heart center, what's in your own soul, what your inner child is saying. Because when we consider too much of when we're in our heads, we're trying to consider everything mentally. We're trying to think of all the timelines that could possibly happen. We're trying to control the future that is Saturn. And when we're going to manifest how we manifest these timelines is through worry. So allowing ourselves to worry about all these different timelines, you're going to manifest something that ends up being like an amalgamation of all of the worries. So it's like you're going to get, partially the good of like the encouragement that you're getting yourself, and you're going to get partially the bad of like all of these other timelines that you've considered, because when you're thinking and you're shifting your focus, you're traveling into those timelines mentally, in your mind. It starts there, but then the emotion sort of like transforms it into emotion. It's motion. You're moving into those timelines. So your point of focus is really important. So what you need to focus on is your inner strengths. So that's what this is all about. It's about like being the mother to yourself and accepting the flaws that you have, but that what the skill set that you have is a result of your heart's path. It's a result of the work that you've put in. It's a result of who you are at your core, your truest, purest, most loving intention that your individual soul has to give to the collective. So instead of focusing on all of the things that could be seen as wrong in somebody else's eyes, focus on your center, which is your heart's path and your individual role. So the best way to do that would be to clear out your thoughts and to put your single-pointed focus on whatever makes you feel the best about yourself, whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. And something else that needs to be addressed that just popped out, I was actually just about to say this too, but like the past experiences are what define, our shadow. So our shadow is a reflection of our pain. And Nine of Wands in reverse is about like the soldier who's been through battle. So what have your battles been? You know, it's important to lovingly reflect on that. That is how we do shadow work. Is it's saying like what has created this shadow? Because usually it's something that's outside of us, like a social construct that we feel like we're chained to, that makes us feel like we can't, that we're victims, that, you know, life is out to get us. All of these things that cause us to ruminate and think about what other people are saying instead of what our heart's path is. All of that comes from your past. And I want to do a video about triggers because I've been getting triggered a lot lately, and I see how my past has affected what I'm doing right now. And a lot of it has been around, like I said, the toxic masculine energy, and you know, how our fathers have been affected, how our fathers have affected us. But also, you know, sort of like the codependent mother. I'm responsible for everybody else's emotions. You know, that would be the high priestess in reverse. I'm responsible for how everybody else feels, but I'm not responsible for how I feel because the collective is responsible for how I feel. My past bad experiences with trauma and people hurting me are responsible for how I feel, not me. It's not me. But that's what that self-defensiveness is that I'm not responsible for my feelings. I don't stand up for myself because I define myself by the group. So if you're defining yourself by the groups and you're allowing other people's opinions to shape your own opinion of yourself, then, you know, see all times when you feel judged and oppressed as an opportunity to truly be there for yourself instead of getting defensive, like you feel like you need to defend yourself against this group mentality. You know, see it as like you have an opportunity to feel into and care for yourself in relation to this group. And that's what the, like, you know, the Mars in retrograde is really all about. Also Chiron in Aries, which is also about to go into retrograde. So we're really going into the traumatic past to discover what is blocking our heart's path. Because I was talking about relationships in the Starbucks with this lady, and one of the baristas randomly walks up to us and is like, oh, there was this one bean blocking the, you know, blocking the whole thing, and then it just all spilled onto the floor. And we were talking about matters of the heart at the time, and I was like, oh, that's what it is. It's like there's like one thing that's like blocking this like sort of like flood tide. And, you know, talk about, you know, being blocked. It's like we have the high priestess and magician both in reverse in this reading. So what's blocking we're getting in our own way in terms of manifestation is that us defining ourselves by the group and by social and cultural constructs that are toxic, and basically lies, because the magician in reverse is about the lie, and it's about the illusion I was talking about in the last reading. We're defining ourselves by that, and our self-definition is what creates our reality. So that's why the sun is in reverse, is it's because our heart's path is being blocked by this lie that we keep telling ourselves about ourselves. We keep lying to ourselves about who we are, about who we truly know that we are. Which is that we're not deserving of the things that we want, and that the things that we want are wrong because we're wrong. So I'm going to pull one card to that effect to close this reading out, because I have one more minute to say whatever it is I'm going to say. So King of Pentacles, the Capricorn, okay, right here. And what do I have to say about this man? He appreciates what he has. He sees himself as successful because of what he has. So this is the card of counting your blessings, of looking around you and seeing what you've built and appreciating and grounding into the gratitude of the work that you have already put in. What's already good about you. When you meditate and you can't focus on nothingness or whatever, you're not necessarily supposed to. Focus on the good things about you and the things that you've done, because you deserve that. So this full moon, take time to focus on the things that you've already been successful with. Blessed be, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao for now.